Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will turn the pages of Ape House by Sara Gruen. Ape House by Sara Gruen, published in 2010, is a thought-provoking novel that explores the deep bond between humans and bonobos. When an explosion destroys a Great Ape Language Lab, the surviving bonobos are sold to a mysterious entity, thrust into a bizarre media circus. Journalist John Thigpen, initially covering the lab's research, becomes entangled in uncovering the truth behind the attack while forming a profound connection with the scientist, Isabel Duncan, who is determined to reunite with her beloved apes. Plot summary. The plane sat motionless on the tarmac, but Osgood, the photographer, was already snoring. John Thigpen envied him. The Philadelphia Inquirer had sent them to the Great Ape Language Lab for a single-day visit, squeezing every possible minute from their time. Despite exhaustion, John stayed awake, expanding his notes while details were fresh. He had met them Bonzi, Sam, Jelani, Makna, Mbongo, and Lola. Bonobos, distinct from chimpanzees, with intelligent eyes and intricate expressions. He had spoken to them in English, and they had responded in American Sign Language. Some, like Bonzi, even communicated with lexicograms, proving fluency in 3 languages. John had looked into their eyes and seen not animals, but sentient beings who understood the world in a way that was both astonishing and undeniable. The lab's lead scientist, Isabel Duncan, had made that connection possible. She spoke of the apes as family, treating them not as research subjects but as individuals with desires, emotions, and opinions. But her world shattered in an instant. An explosion ripped through the language lab, flames licking through corridors, smoke curling like fingers around doorways. Isabel barely survived, her body broken, her hearing stolen by the force of the blast. As fire consumed everything she had built, masked intruders stormed the lab, glass shattered, cages wrenched open, the bonobos vanished. From her hospital bed, Isabel tried to grasp the nightmare that had become her life. The lab was gone. The bonobos were gone. No one knew where they had been taken or if they were even alive. News reports turned speculation into spectacle, twisting tragedy into entertainment. Whispers of scandal followed her, reporters hungry for controversy rather than truth, but the pain of her injuries could not compare to the agony of losing them. The bonobos had trusted her, and she had failed them. John, shaken by the news, begged his editor to send him back to Kansas. He needed answers. What had happened to the apes? Who had taken them? His investigation led to a bizarre discovery. The bonobos were alive, but they were no longer in a lab. They had become the unwilling stars of a reality television show. Cameras followed their every move, capturing them eating, playing, fighting, and communicating. Strangers gawked at them, laughed at their antics, and placed bets on their interactions. A spectacle for the masses, a prison for those who once lived with dignity. Isabel had no choice but to recover quickly. The bonobos needed her. She reached out to anyone who could help, former colleagues, activists, even strangers who had taken an interest in the case. But the fight to reclaim them was not simple. Legal roadblocks stood in her way, and the show's producers hid behind corporate walls, protected by wealth and power. She needed someone who could navigate the chaos of media and corruption. She needed John. John had problems of his own. His wife, Amanda, had been struggling for months. Rejections had buried her dream of writing, and she had found solace in an unexpected place, a television deal in Los Angeles. A chance to write for a new show, a chance to start fresh. But it meant distance. It meant change, and it meant leaving John behind. He did not have time to process it. The bonobos came first. The deeper John dug, the darker the truth became. The explosion had not been an accident. It had been orchestrated. Someone had wanted the bonobos removed, their research erased, their existence repackaged for entertainment. As Isabel and John worked together, their search led them through a maze of deception, an underground network of animal traffickers, corporations profiting from exploitation, and a public too enthralled by the spectacle to question the suffering behind the screen. Every attempt to intervene was met with resistance. Lawyers threatened. Security tightened. Isabel and John had to be careful, had to be smart. The bonobos were counting on them. When diplomacy failed, desperation took hold. They needed to act before the apes were lost forever. The plan was reckless, dangerous, but it was the only option left. Night swallowed the city as they slipped past fences and cameras, navigating the labyrinth of the set where the bonobos lived under constant surveillance. Time was short. One mistake and everything would be lost. Isabel whispered their names, signing softly into the darkness. Bonzi, Sam, Jelani, Makna, Mbongo, Lola. Shadows stirred. Hands reached out. Familiar eyes met hers, wide with recognition, with trust. The moment stretched, breathless, fragile. Then alarms shattered the silence. Chaos erupted. Flashing lights, shouting voices, the pounding of feet, but there was no turning back. The bonobos would not be left behind. Isabel and John fought through the panic, through the grasping hands that sought to drag them away, through the barriers built to keep them caged. And then open air, the rush of freedom, the scent of something other than confinement. The fight was not over. The world did not simply allow stolen lives to be returned without consequence, but the truth had been exposed. Cameras that had once captured captivity now documented rescue. Viewers who had laughed now understood what they had witnessed. The law, slow but unrelenting, turned its gaze on those who had profited from cruelty. In the days that followed, Isabel stood among them once more. Bonzi reached for her, the warmth of her fingers speaking more than words ever could. Lola clung to her, small and trusting, her presence a promise of new beginnings. The bonds that had been severed were mended. The family that had been torn apart was whole again, and the world, for once, had chosen to listen. That's it for today, but if you're looking for more great reads, dive into other books by Sara Gruen. Details are in the description or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in Sara Gruen's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.